The Mortis realm was a place where the balance of the Force was tested. In canon, Anakin refused to remain, but if he had accepted his role as the Chosen One and stayed, the galaxy would have been forever altered. When Anakin Skywalker stood on Mortis, he faced the greatest choice of his life. The Father told him that only he, the Chosen One, could bring balance to the Force by staying on Mortis. In this version of the story, Anakin does not refuse. Instead, he accepts the role and takes his place between the son and the daughter. Obi-Wan Kenobi pleads with him to return to the Republic. Ahsoka Tano begs her master not to abandon her. But Anakin feels the pull of destiny. He believes that only by staying can he protect the galaxy from being consumed by darkness. With a heavy heart, he says farewell to his friends. The Clone Wars continue without him. The Republic loses one of its bravest generals. Obi-Wan fights with greater burden than ever before, carrying both command and sorrow. Ahsoka, without her master's guidance, struggles with loneliness. She grows independent more quickly, shaping her own path earlier than expected. Meanwhile, Darth Sidious feels the loss. His plans for Anakin as his apprentice collapse. He turns again to Count Dooku, but Dooku is aging, and Maul is broken. Without Anakin, the Emperor's rise is slowed, though he still weaves his schemes in secret. On Mortis, Anakin becomes a guardian of the Force itself. He holds back the son's hunger for power while guiding the daughter's light. For years he keeps the balance, but he is trapped in a cycle that feels eternal. His victories are unseen, his sacrifice unknown. Padme Amidala, far away on Coruscant, carries the sorrow of his absence. She may still give birth to Luke and Leia, but without their father's presence, their lives take a different course. They grow up without the shadow of Darth Vader. They may never need to fight the same war their father once brought upon the galaxy. The Republic stumbles without Anakin's victories. Worlds are lost, battles drag on, and Jedi fall in greater numbers. Yet the Sith never fully triumph, for Sidious cannot find another apprentice with Anakin's strength. The darkness spreads slower, restrained by a force beyond his reach. In the end, the galaxy pays a high price. It survives in a fragile state, while Anakin remains bound to Mortis. The galaxy never knows the hero who gave up everything. Anakin saves the Force, but he loses the chance to save the world he loved, becoming a silent guardian, unseen and eternal. When Anakin Skywalker stood before the Father on Mortis, he faced a choice unlike any other. The Father told him that only the Chosen One could take his place, holding the balance between the daughter, who represented the light, and the son, who embodied the dark. In this path, Anakin does not turn away. He accepts the burden, believing this sacrifice will protect the galaxy from falling into shadow. Obi-Wan Kenobi cannot understand the decision. He pleads with Anakin, telling him the Republic needs him and that his friends need him. Ahsoka Tano, still young and loyal, begs her master not to abandon her. But Anakin feels destiny pressing on his shoulders. With sorrow in his heart, he tells them goodbye. The ship leaves without him, and the bond between master and apprentice is cut forever. The war beyond Mortis rages on. Without Anakin's daring tactics and fearless spirit, the Republic falters. Obi-Wan becomes the Council's strongest defender, but even he feels the weight of endless battles. Ahsoka grows in ways she never expected. No longer guided by her master's voice, she learns to trust her own instincts. She becomes a leader, but carries a wound that never heals. In the shadows, Darth Sidious senses the shift. His plan to claim Anakin as his apprentice fails. He leans more heavily on Count Dooku, though Dooku is old and weary. Sidious searches for others, Maul, perhaps even Inquisitors, but none hold the same power. The future of the Sith grows uncertain, and the rise of the Empire slows. On Mortis, Anakin walks a lonely road. He restrains the fury of the son, who constantly seeks to escape, and he listens to the daughter, whose kindness anchors him. Years pass differently in that realm. Time becomes strange, but his duty never ends. He becomes more legend than man, a figure who exists only in the whispers of the Force. Padme Amidala feels his absence deeply. Though he is alive, he is unreachable. She raises her children without him, perhaps never telling them the full truth. Luke and Leia grow without the shadow of Darth Vader, but they also grow without the love of a father who once dreamed of protecting them. The galaxy moves forward, fragile and wounded. The Jedi fight longer, the Sith plot slower, and yet the balance of the Force is preserved. Anakin Skywalker saves what few ever see, but he loses himself, bound forever to a realm between light and dark, guarding the galaxy from afar. Anakin Skywalker stands on the realm of Mortis, the strange place where the Force itself takes shape. The father looks into his eyes and tells him the truth. Only the Chosen One can hold the balance between the daughter's light and the son's darkness. This time Anakin does not turn away. He accepts his fate, believing that if he stays, he will save the galaxy from ruin. Obi-Wan Kenobi calls out to him, pleading that the galaxy still needs its defender. He warns Anakin that duty lies with the Jedi and the Republic. Ahsoka Tano, desperate and loyal, begs her master not to leave her behind. But Anakin knows that his path lies here. With heavy silence, he tells them both goodbye. Obi-Wan's heart breaks, and Ahsoka feels abandoned. But the ship departs, leaving Anakin behind in the eternal realm. The Clone Wars continue without their greatest warrior. The Republic Army fights bravely, but without Anakin's fire and brilliance, victories are fewer. Obi-Wan takes on more weight than ever before, becoming both commander and symbol for the Jedi. Ahsoka, no longer able to lean on her master, grows into her own strength. She makes bold choices, learning quickly that she must stand as her own leader. Far away, Darth Sidious senses the change. The apprentice he planned to mold into a weapon of darkness is lost to him. He grows restless, relying on Count Dooku, who is skilled but aging. Maul lingers in shadows, but Sidious knows none of them can match Anakin's power. The future of the Sith darkens, and their rise slows, though their hunger does not fade. On Mortis, Anakin begins a new life as guardian of balance. The son whispers promises of freedom and conquest, but Anakin holds him in check. The daughter shines with compassion, guiding Anakin toward peace. Time bends strangely in that place, seasons passing without measure. Anakin becomes more than a man. He becomes a living force of balance, unseen by the galaxy he once fought for. Padme Amidala feels his absence more deeply than anyone. Though he lives, he is forever beyond her reach. If she bears Luke and Leia, she raises them in a world without their father's hand. They grow without the shadow of Darth Vader, yet also without the presence of the man who once dreamed of protecting them. The galaxy stumbles forward. Wars drag on. Jedi fall, but the Sith never truly conquer, for their greatest prize is forever out of reach. Anakin Skywalker has saved the Force itself, yet in doing so, he gives up his place in the world he loved. He becomes a silent guardian, bound to Mortis, eternal and unseen. Anakin Skywalker stands on Mortis, a realm where the Force lives in its purest form. The father tells him the truth that only the Chosen One can keep balance between the light of the daughter and the darkness of the son. In this moment, Anakin chooses a different path. He accepts the role, deciding that to save the galaxy, he must remain on Mortis, even if it means giving up everything he loves. Obi-Wan Kenobi cannot believe what he hears. He begs Anakin to return, reminding him of the Jedi Order, the Republic, and the countless lives still depending on him. Ahsoka Tano clings to hope, pleading with her master not to leave her behind. But Anakin's mind is set. He tells them both that this is his destiny. With sorrow in his voice, he says farewell. Obi-Wan feels the weight of loss, and Ahsoka feels the pain of being left alone. But their ship lifts away, leaving Anakin in silence. The Clone Wars move on without their strongest defender. The Republic faces battles it struggles to win. Without Anakin's daring courage and brilliant tactics, victories are harder, losses more painful. Obi-Wan shoulders the burden of leadership, carrying the Jedi Council's trust while hiding the grief of losing his brother in arms. Ahsoka, forced to grow quickly, learns to lead without her master. She makes her own path, finding strength in independence, though the wound of abandonment never fades. Far across the galaxy, Darth Sidious senses the loss. His plans for Anakin's fall vanish like smoke. He leans on Count Dooku, but Dooku is old and weakening. Sidious searches for another apprentice, looking at Maul, looking even towards shadows of the unknown, but none carry Anakin's strength. The rise of the Sith slows, their path less certain without the Chosen One at their side. On Mortis, Anakin takes the father's place. The son tempts him with promises of power, but Anakin restrains him. The daughter guides him with light, teaching patience and peace. Time flows strangely in that realm. Seasons pass like whispers, yet Anakin remains steady, a silent guardian between light and dark. He becomes more myth than man, unseen but eternal. Padme Amidala feels his absence deeply. Though alive, Anakin is gone forever. If Luke and Leia are born, they never know the touch of their father. They grow without Darth Vader's shadow, but also without the love Anakin once promised them. The galaxy stumbles, the Jedi endure, and the Sith falter. Anakin Skywalker saves the Force itself, but in doing so, he surrenders his place in the galaxy he once called home. Bound to Mortis, he becomes the eternal guardian, forever watching, forever unseen. Anakin Skywalker stands in the strange and endless realm of Mortis, a place where the Force itself takes form. The father tells him the truth, that only the Chosen One can remain to keep balance between the daughter, who holds the light, and the son, who carries the dark. In this moment, Anakin makes a choice that will change everything. He accepts his role, choosing to stay on Mortis as guardian of balance, even if it means leaving behind the life he once knew. Obi-Wan Kenobi cannot believe the words. He calls out to Anakin, reminding him of the Jedi, the Republic, and the people who need him. He speaks as a brother, desperate to keep Anakin by his side. Ahsoka Tano, full of pain, begs her master not to leave her. She fears being lost without him. Yet Anakin does not turn back. With quiet sorrow, he tells them that this is the destiny he was born to fulfill. Obi-Wan lowers his head, heavy with grief, while Ahsoka feels her bond to her master break. The ship rises into the sky, and Anakin is left behind, alone in silence. The war across the galaxy continues. Without Anakin's courage and fearless command, the Republic suffers. Many battles are harder, and victories are fewer. Obi-Wan fights on, but the burden weighs upon him. He becomes the Council's strongest voice, yet his heart carries the loss of his friend. Ahsoka grows into independence faster than she ever wished. Without Anakin to guide her, she learns to trust her own instincts, making choices that shape her future in ways no master ever planned. In the shadows, Darth Sidious feels the change. His great design of turning Anakin into his dark apprentice collapses. He turns again to Count Dooku, but Dooku is aging, his strength fading. Sidious searches for another, perhaps Maul, perhaps someone hidden, but none match the power of the Chosen One. His empire's rise slows, his reach stretched thinner, for the weapon he desired most is forever out of reach. On Mortis, Anakin steps into his new role. The son whispers temptations of conquest, yet Anakin holds him back. The daughter shines with calm and kindness, guiding Anakin toward peace. Time flows strangely in that place, seasons moving like shadows. Anakin becomes more than man, a spirit bound to balance, eternal and unseen. Padme Amidala feels his loss most of all. Though he lives, he is unreachable. If Luke and Leia are born, they grow without him. They escape the shadow of Darth Vader, yet also lose the love of the father who once dreamed of keeping them safe. The galaxy continues, fragile and uncertain. The Jedi endure longer. The Sith falter in their plans, but Anakin Skywalker is gone from their world. He remains bound to Mortis, guarding the balance of the Force, unseen yet everlasting. Anakin Skywalker stands on the mysterious world of Mortis, where the very essence of the Force takes shape. The father tells him that only the chosen one can keep balance between the daughter, who is light, and the son, who is darkness. Anakin feels the weight of destiny pressing on him. This time, instead of turning away, he accepts the role. He chooses to stay, believing that his sacrifice will protect the galaxy from falling into endless shadow. Obi-Wan Kenobi cannot accept his decision. He calls to Anakin, warning him that the Jedi need him, that the Republic needs him, that millions of lives depend on his courage. Ahsoka Tano's heart breaks as she begs her master not to leave her behind. Her voice shakes with fear and sadness. Yet Anakin does not change his mind. With sorrow in his voice, he tells them this is his path. He bids them both farewell. Obi-Wan lowers his head in grief, and Ahsoka feels her bond with her master torn apart. The ship departs, leaving Anakin alone in the timeless silence of Mortis. The Clone Wars rage on without him. Without Anakin's daring strategies and fearless strength, the Republic army suffers. Many victories are lost, and more Jedi fall in battle. Obi-Wan carries the weight of leadership, fighting with courage but also with grief. Ahsoka grows more quickly into her own, learning to trust herself and to lead without her master's guidance. She becomes strong, but the pain of his absence never leaves her. Far away, Darth Sidious feels the change. His grand plan to twist Anakin into his apprentice falls apart. He leans more heavily on Count Dooku, though Dooku is old and weary. He searches for another, perhaps Maul, perhaps someone hidden in the shadows, but no one matches Anakin's strength. The rise of the Sith slows, and the galaxy's fate becomes less certain. On Mortis, Anakin begins his eternal duty. The sun whispers lies and temptations of power, but Anakin restrains him. The daughter offers wisdom and light, reminding him of peace. Time passes strangely in that realm. Days and years blur, but Anakin endures. He becomes more than flesh and blood. He becomes the balance itself, a guardian forever bound to the Force. Padme Amidala feels his absence deeply. Though Anakin lives, he is unreachable. If Luke and Leia are born, they grow without their father. They do not suffer under Darth Vader's shadow, yet they never feel the love of the man who once dreamed of protecting them. The galaxy continues, fragile and wounded, as Jedi and Sith struggle on. But Anakin Skywalker no longer walks among them. He remains on Mortis, eternal and unseen, the silent guardian of the Force. Anakin Skywalker stands upon Mortis, a place where the Force itself is alive, where light and dark exist in their purest forms. The Father looks into him and speaks of destiny, of balance, of the role only the chosen one can fulfill. The choice is heavy, but Anakin does not turn away. He accepts. He chooses to remain on Mortis, to hold the line between the daughter's light and the son's darkness, even though it means leaving behind everything he loves. Obi-Wan Kenobi pleads with him. He speaks of the Jedi Order, of the Republic, of the billions of lives who need their defender. His words are filled with both reason and sorrow. Ahsoka Tano cries out to her master, her voice trembling with fear. She begs him not to leave her behind, not to break the bond they share. But Anakin's mind is firm. With sadness in his heart, he tells them both goodbye. The ship departs without him, and Mortis grows silent as he steps into his new life. The galaxy continues to burn with war. Without Anakin Skywalker, the Republic falters. The great victories that once turned the tide are no more. Worlds fall, soldiers suffer, and more Jedi are lost. Obi-Wan bears the weight of command, fighting bravely, but carrying grief in every battle. Ahsoka learns to grow alone, forced to trust her instincts and lead with courage. She becomes stronger, though the wound of her master's absence follows her always. Far away, Darth Sidious feels the shift. His long plan to twist Anakin into Darth Vader crumbles. Count Dooku serves him still, but the Count is tired and fading. Sidious searches for another apprentice, turning his eye once more to Maul, to shadows, to whispers of hidden power, yet none are what Anakin could have been. The Sith's rise slows, their dream of an empire delayed, though their hunger never dies. On Mortis, Anakin takes the father's place. The son tempts him, promising freedom and power beyond measure. But Anakin stands firm and keeps him in check. The daughter offers light and peace, guiding him toward calm and patience. Time on Mortis flows in strange ways. Days and years blur like mist, yet Anakin endures, becoming more than a man, a spirit of balance, eternal and unseen. Padme Amidala feels his absence most of all. Though he lives, he is forever beyond her reach. If Luke and Leia are born, they grow without the hand of their father. They escape the shadow of Darth Vader, yet they never know the love of Anakin Skywalker. The war drags on, the Jedi endure, and the Sith struggle, but Anakin no longer walks among them. He remains on Mortis, the silent guardian of balance, unseen yet everlasting. Anakin Skywalker stands in the strange realm of Mortis, where the Force breathes in every stone and every shadow. The father tells him that only the chosen one can hold the balance between the daughter, who is light, and the son, who is darkness. For a moment, Anakin hesitates, torn between duty and love, between destiny and the life he has built. Then he makes his choice. He accepts. He will remain on Mortis, giving himself to the balance, even if it means never seeing those he loves again. Obi-Wan Kenobi is struck with disbelief. He calls to Anakin, urging him to remember the Jedi, the Republic, and all who depend on him. His words carry sorrow, for he already feels he is losing his brother. Ahsoka Tano, her voice filled with pain, begs her master not to abandon her. She is young, frightened, and desperate to hold onto the bond they share. But Anakin does not bend. With a heavy heart, he tells them both farewell. Their ship lifts into the sky, leaving him behind, bound now to Mortis. The Clone Wars rage on without their champion. The Republic loses many of the victories that Anakin would have claimed. Battles drag on, soldiers suffer, and hope dims across the galaxy. Obi-Wan fights with honor, but the burden weighs heavily on him. He carries grief in silence, hiding it even as he stands tall before the council. Ahsoka, left without her master's guidance, learns to walk her own path. She grows faster than she ever expected, becoming a leader forged in pain and independence. Far away, Darth Sidious feels the shift. His grand plan collapses. The apprentice he desired is gone, beyond his reach. Count Dooku still serves him, but Dooku is weary and fading. Sidious turns his gaze toward Maul, toward the shadows of the galaxy, toward anyone who might carry the power he lost, but none can equal Anakin. The Sith's rise slows, their dream of an empire weakened, though their hunger remains. On Mortis, Anakin begins his eternal duty. The daughter shines with peace and compassion, guiding Anakin with light. Time flows strangely in Mortis, years passing like moments, yet Anakin endures. He becomes more than man, more than Jedi. He becomes balance itself, eternal and unseen. Padme Amidala feels his absence as a wound in her heart. Though Anakin lives, he is lost to her forever. If Luke and Leia are born, they grow without the shadow of Darth Vader, but they also grow without the love of their father. The galaxy stumbles on, fragile and uncertain. The Jedi endure, the Sith falter, but Anakin Skywalker is gone from their world. On Mortis he remains, the silent guardian of balance, everlasting and unseen. Anakin Skywalker stands within the strange and timeless world of Mortis, where light and dark meet as living beings. The father tells him what he has always feared and hoped, that only the chosen one can hold balance between the daughter, the light, and the son, the darkness. For a long moment, Anakin struggles with the weight of the choice, torn between his love for those waiting in the galaxy and the destiny he cannot escape. At last, he accepts. He chooses to remain on Mortis, giving himself to the role of balance. Obi-Wan Kenobi calls to him, his voice heavy with sorrow. He reminds Anakin of his duty to the Jedi, to the Republic, to the people who depend on him. His words carry both reason and grief, but Anakin does not move. Ahsoka Tano runs to her master, her voice breaking as she pleads with him not to leave her behind. She fears what she will become without his guidance. Anakin kneels to her, his voice filled with sadness, and tells her this is his destiny. Then the ship lifts away, leaving him behind in silence, forever bound to Mortis. The Clone Wars continue, but the galaxy feels his absence. Without Anakin's bold spirit and unmatched skill, the Republic suffers. Many battles are lost, and more Jedi fall. Obi-Wan fights on, steady and brave, but grief follows him through every mission. He becomes the Council's anchor, though his heart is wounded. Ahsoka learns to survive without her master. She grows into her strength more quickly than she ever imagined, yet she carries the pain of abandonment, a shadow that never leaves her. Far away, Darth Sidious senses the shift in the Force. His grand design to claim Anakin as his apprentice crumbles into dust. Count Dooku remains at his side, but age and weakness creep into the Sith Lord's bones. Sidious searches the galaxy for another, turning once more to Maul, seeking other shadows, but none carry the potential Anakin once held. The rise of the Sith slows, and the dream of Empire falters, though the darkness never fades. On Mortis, Anakin begins his eternal watch. The sun whispers lies of freedom and conquest, but Anakin holds him at bay. The daughter's gentle voice offers calm and light, guiding him in his endless task. Time flows strangely there. Years pass like moments, and moments stretch into eternity. Anakin becomes more than a Jedi, more than a man. He becomes balance itself, unseen yet everlasting. Padme Amidala feels the ache of his absence each day. Though he lives, he is beyond her reach. If Luke and Leia are born, they grow free of Darth Vader's shadow, but also without the love of the father who once dreamed of protecting them. The galaxy moves forward in struggle and hope. The Jedi endure. The Sith falter, but Anakin Skywalker no longer walks among them. On Mortis he remains, the eternal guardian, forever unseen, forever bound to the Force. The galaxy stumbles on, fragile and uncertain. The Jedi endure, the Sith falter, but Anakin Skywalker is gone from their world. On Mortis he remains, the silent guardian of balance, everlasting and unseen. Anakin Skywalker stands within the strange and timeless world of Mortis, where light and dark meet as living beings. The Father tells him what he has always feared and hoped, that only the Chosen One can hold balance between the daughter, the light, and the son, the darkness. For a long moment, Anakin struggles with the weight of the choice, torn between his love for those waiting in the galaxy and the destiny he cannot escape. At last, he accepts. He chooses to remain on Mortis, giving himself to the role of balance. Obi-Wan Kenobi calls to him, his voice heavy with sorrow. He reminds Anakin of his duty to the Jedi, to the Republic, to the people who depend on him. His words carry both reason and grief, but Anakin does not move. Ahsoka Tano runs to her master, her voice breaking as she pleads with him not to leave her behind. She fears what she will become without his guidance. Anakin kneels to her, his voice filled with sadness, and tells her this is his destiny. Then the ship lifts away, leaving him behind in silence, forever bound to Mortis. The Clone Wars continue, but the galaxy feels his absence. Without Anakin's bold spirit and unmatched skill, the Republic suffers. Many battles are lost, and more Jedi fall. Obi-Wan fights on, steady and brave, but grief follows him through every mission. He becomes the Council's anchor, though his heart is wounded. Ahsoka learns to survive without her master. She grows into her strength more quickly than she ever imagined, yet she carries the pain of abandonment, a shadow that never leaves her. Far away, Darth Sidious senses the shift in the Force. his grand design to claim Anakin as his apprentice crumbles into dust. Count Dooku remains at his side, but age and weakness creep into the Sith Lord's bones. Sidious searches the galaxy for another, turning once more to Maul, seeking other shadows, but none carry the potential Anakin once held. The rise of the Sith slows, and the dream of empire falters, though the darkness never fades. On Mortis, Anakin begins his eternal watch. The sun whispers lies of freedom and conquest, but Anakin holds him at bay. The daughter's gentle voice offers calm and light, guiding him in his endless task. Time flows strangely there. Years pass like moments, and moments stretch into eternity. Anakin becomes more than a Jedi, more than a man. He becomes balance itself, unseen yet everlasting. Padme Amidala feels the ache of his absence each day. Though he lives, he is beyond her reach. If Luke and Leia are born, they grow free of Darth Vader's shadow, but also without the love of the father who once dreamed of protecting them. The galaxy moves forward in struggle and hope. The Jedi endure. The Sith falter, but Anakin Skywalker no longer walks among them. On Mortis he remains, the eternal guardian, forever unseen, forever bound to the Force.